Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We start off with the top story today. The Indian rupee has touched an all-time low of 79.43 rupees against the US dollar during Monday's early trade. Now, the rupee closed at 79.25 rupees per US dollar on Friday. The rupee has weakened amid the selling pressure in the equities market. Now, today, Sensex and Nifty fell, dragged by heavy selling pressure in IT and telecom stocks. In the meantime, an update on Mohammed Zubair's story. Now, fact-checking website co-founder Mohammed Zubair was remanded to 14-day judicial custody by Lakhimpur Kheri court by Uttar Pradesh. Now, a case registered against him was registered against him in September last year for fact checking a report carried by Sudarshan News about the Israel Palestine dispute. Now, the complaint in the Lakhimpur Kheri case was filed by Ashish Kumar Katia, a journalist working with Sudarshan News. Now, the action against the journalist in Lakhimpur Kheri was taken after he was first arrested by the Delhi police on the 27th of June for allegedly hurting religious sentiments through a tweet that he had posted in March 2018. Post that, the UP police wanted his custody for calling three Hindutva supremacist hate mongers in a tweet. Now, in that case, on July 8th, the Supreme Court granted the 39-year-old a 5-day temporary bail after his counsel informed the court that he was facing death threats. Now, soon after this interim bail verdict, the court in Lakhimpur Kheri issued a warrant summoning Zubair before it on Monday. Moving on now, the Supreme Court has asked the Maharashtra Assembly Speaker to not take any decision on disqualifying Shiv Sena MLAs. Maharashtra Legislator Secretary Rajendra Bhagwat has now issued show cause notices to 53 Shiv Sena MLAs. Now, 40 of the notices have been sent to the faction led by Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, and the other 13 belong to the Uddhav Thackeray faction. Both the groups have sought the disqualification of legislators from the rival faction. Now, two petitions have been filed by Uddhav Thackeray in the court after the government was overthrown. Meanwhile, according to a report by Live Law, the Supreme Court has asked the centre to consider introducing a Bail Act to streamline the process of granting relief from jail term to accused persons. Now, the bench also issued certain directions to ensure compliance of a proper procedure for arrest and a time limit for disposing bail pleas. To give you a context, Section 41 of the CRPC allows the police to arrest a person without an order from the magistrate or a warrant. Section 41A gives an officer the power to issue a notice to a person against whom a complaint is filed, asking them to appear before the police. Now, the bench added that bail applications should be disposed of within 2 weeks, except when provisions mandate otherwise. And the judges also directed that anticipatory bail applications should be disposed of within 6 weeks. Meanwhile, in Tamil Nadu, after high drama, the AIADMK on Monday elevated former Chief Minister Edapadi Palaniswami as interim General Secretary of the party. In the meantime, they also expelled OPS or O Selvam for anti-party activities. Now, responding to his expulsion, OPS said that he was elected as a coordinator by 1.5 crore party workers and that neither EPS nor another leader had the right to expel him. He said, I quote, I will approach the court, end quote. Now, the decision was among the 16 resolutions passed unanimously by the party during its General Council meeting in Chennai. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate has again summoned Congress Chief Sonia Gandhi to appear before it on 21st of July for questioning in a money laundering investigation related to the National Herald newspaper. Now, this is the third summons issued by the agency to the Congress president. Now, she did not appear earlier. She tested positive for COVID and was recovering from the same. In fact, during her hospitalization, Rahul Gandhi was questioned by the ED for 50 hours over 5 days. Meanwhile, in Gujarat, according to Hindustan Times, over 3,000 residents have been evacuated from different parts of the state amid heavy rain warnings by the weather department. Now, several areas in Ahmedabad were flooded and schools and colleges were also shut. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel has held a meeting to review the situation in all of the districts. It's the same story in Telangana. Amid heavy rains, Telangana Chief Minister has declared holidays for all educational institutions for 3 days from the 11th of July to the 13th of July. Now, waterlogging has been reported in many low lying areas, and the Chief Minister had conducted a review meeting. On to business news right now. Joined in media investigation involving dozens of media organizations based on a leaked cache of confidential files from ride sharing company Uber has shown ethically dubious and potentially illegal tactics it used allegedly to fuel its global expansion beginning nearly a decade ago. Now, the investigation also found that company officials leveraged the sometimes violent backlash from the taxi industry against drivers to garner support and evaded regulatory authorities as it looked to conquer new markets early in its history. Now, leaked data with over 1.24 lakh confidential documents from Uber was initially obtained by Guardian and then shared with international consortium of investigative journalists. Now, the reports also say that files reveal Uber also lobbied governments to add its expansion, finding in particular an ally in France is Emmanuel Macron, who was economy minister from 2014 to 2016 and is now the country's president. The files also cover 40 countries and span from 2013 to 2017. There was obviously a response from Uber, which said that its past behavior wasn't in line with present values and it's a different company today. Now, a spokesperson of former chief executive Travis Kalanick strongly denied the findings as a false agenda, saying that, and I quote, never suggested that Uber should take advantage of violence at the expense of driver safety. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has sentenced fugitive businessman Vijay Mallya for 4 months in jail and imposed a fine of 2,000 rupees on him after he was found guilty of contempt of court in 2017 for withholding information from the court. Now, he was convicted for contempt in 2017 over transferring $40 million to his children in violation of court orders. Now, the court also said that the fine should be deposited within 4 weeks of to the Supreme Court Legal Services Authority, failing which a further sentence of 2 months would be added. Now, Vijay Mallya is an accused in a bank loan default case of over 9,000 crore rupees involving his Kingfisher Airlines. He has been in the UK since March 2016. On to environment news right now. Wildfires are being reported in several parts of Portugal. The Guardian has reported that over 29 people have so far been injured and thousands of firefighters are controlling the blazes. Now, the country is enduring a heat wave that's set to worsen, with temperatures expected to reach up to 43 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. The EU also activated its firefighting air fleet assistance program, which allows member states to share resources to help Portugal. On to international news right now, starting off with Japan. Japan's ruling party, Liberal Democratic Party, along with its coalition partner, won a major victory in the upper house elections on Sunday. This comes 2 days after former PM Shinzo Abe's assassination. Now, Abe was shot while giving a campaign speech in the western city of Nara on Friday. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, Parliament Speaker said that Sri Lanka's Parliament will elect a new president on the 20th of July, amid reports of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fleeing from Sri Lanka. The Speaker confirmed to ANI that the president is still in the country. Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that he will resign on the 13th of July. On Saturday, in fact, there were thousands of protesters outside Gotabaya Rajapaksa's residence. In fact, they were seen using the swimming pool, the kitchen, and the residence as well. In fact, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's residence was set ablaze as well. Now, protesters, in fact, have refused to leave the president and prime minister's residences until the president resigns. The president, of course, said that he will resign on the 13th of July. The prime minister has already resigned. In the meantime, Sri Lanka's opposition parties on Sunday agreed to form an all party interim government after the prime minister agreed to resign in wake of the protests in the country. In the meantime, India has said that it continues to stand with the citizens of Sri Lanka. The governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka said that negotiations are currently on with India over a $1 billion swap. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, it's day 138 of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The death toll from a Russian rocket attack that hit an apartment block in eastern Ukraine over the weekend rose to 24. Now, Ukraine's defense minister said that the country plans a million-strong army equipped with NATO weapons to retake the south of the country from occupying Russians. The remarks came as Russia makes progress in taking territory in the eastern Donbas region. Meanwhile, in sports news, Novak Djokovic has won his seventh Wimbledon title and 21st Grand Slam on Sunday. Djokovic beat Nick Kyrgios to win this title. He is now one Grand Slam ahead of Roger Federer and one behind Rafael Nadal. And one piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin: a 94-year-old Bhagwani Devi Dagar has won a gold and two bronze for India at the World Masters Athletics Championships 2022 in Finland yesterday. Now, she achieved the feat in 100-meter sprint, clocking 24.74 seconds and won one of the bronze medals for shot put. All of this at the age of 94. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.